Okay, I guess there's no better intro to an episode of Metronome Madness. Yo. I've been back to this like a backflip. I'm just turning things over, you know. Been jumping around from town to town, trying to find out now if life is really as different as they say. The people who are the same as me. It's crazy, see? Climbing trees with leaves that just seem to fall again, and we're trying to get back to the top of them. Well, I'm back on top when I'm on the bottom of things. Because I like to get to the bottom of things, the truth. The youth seems to take things and bend them a little bit, like an angle iron. They're ironing out their clothing, and iron sharpens itself. The irony of things is we're burning trees. And that actually is what brings the new leaves. Burning things down like the town to find out that a new one will get built in its place. Trying to escape the fact that it's not on the tempo. Come back home to the temple. The place where you race yourself to the last. Because the last will be first. And first off, let me clarify some things. I like to sing. I'm gonna make a little bit of music for you. So do what you do with the things I introduce. Call it Metronome Madness for a reason. Because each season I take a hat or two and make it madder than you. Or I get mad at you for the things you do. When I've done the same things, and maybe it's just a different season. But where would the flavor in life be without the salt, you see? I'm salting the earth with some things. Is it spicy or sweet? I like the girls that are nice and neat. Neat in the sense of someone who's cool. I like it, dude. Makes me start to drool when I salivate over a plate of spicy things that I don't like to see. But I like to keep the things inside of me without letting them leave. In other words, sugar and spice, right? All the things nice. Granules. One thing at a time. I'm dropping these things on the line. They might roll off. I've been rolling. Gone. I'm gonna roll back into town. These boots are made for walking. Often I've been stopping on the corner of the marketplace to look at a person in the face when people are walking by with their eyes down inside the things in their palms. All alone in a sea full of people. But you don't see through the peephole. Magnifying your glasses, making it brighter, the day lighter, something. So it seems. You're not sowing seeds. You just go to sleep. You wake up when the sun does. It's nighttime routine. Paradoxical back and forth. A popsicle. Now you're sure I'm the crazy one. Yeah. Well, if you can see correctly, then you'll be on the edge of that seat. The seashore, I mean. If you can see what I... You listening? Sometimes you don't have to see things to hear what's going on, to understand that we're all in the wrong here. We're in the wrong gear. Racing so quickly to the finish line. We all will finish fine. Don't worry about the end. Worry about beginning those projects you never thought you'd do. Start slurring my words and get all misconstrued. Takes a minute to get into it, a little bit deeper than the surface level. On the surface, things seem level, till we start sanding down beneath. On the ocean floor, you're sure there's a lot more things that could scare you than on the surface of the waves. And you're looking all around there, just trying to find a place to escape. Getting back to it, though. They call it a mad movement, bro. I call it just wait and see. Patiently, though. Complacency takes these things and puts us in a different seat. The top shelf, the bracket above. I've been bragging of love. I love a lot of things. Encompassed in one. My compass can come with me internally when I'm turning things around outside. Inside me is still the person who doesn't like to hide but might do it anyway, trying to say that they can't find the way if they're not looking around at things. But like I said, we can hear a lot of things that we don't have to see. And actually, it's when you go back to sleep and your eyes are closed, you might get the most type of revelation on the things you've been taking to the wrong extremes when you're dropping things off the cliff and you missed it, thinking you're optimistic. Really, you're just a mystic, looking at the wrong kind of things and looking through the mist, just not seeing things clearly. Take it a little bit slower, like the Mars rover took a little bit of time to get there, and it might just get where, here and there, as it takes its course across the desert, barren wasteland. But don't desert yourself, because you're in last place, man. Pick up some things along the way that some people tossed as they went off, run into the next thing, thinking the best thing was to get in the west wing of the building where the party's happening, and you're sitting on the east side where things like to find a different kind of place to hide until the morning time. The waves of the ocean follow with the tide. The sun and the moon doing the thing that they do. We're back to it, you know. They call it a bad movement. I call it a mad movement. I call it get back and do it. The thing you didn't finish that you wish you did, don't feel like you're out of time. Because whether you're 14 or 400 years old, you're still a kid and you still haven't crossed that line, the finish line, trying to find the ending of life. It's a place we can get to quickly, right? But if you take your time, the only thing you've been given really, as a human being who doesn't know how to do another thing, besides look at a clock and try to stop the hands on it, but you can't get your hands on the hands to try to stop the thing you're trying to stop. You see, it keeps going, whether you know it or not. So you're mowing your lawn in the backyard, taking a little bit slower of a path than the other people who are out there just trying to crash. That's really what they're trying to do, actually, is crash. Because they won't be sitting in the back of the seat. They'll be sitting right in the front, taking a jump, hyperspace. But that's what they won't take, is a little bit of time to wait. Space bars. Don't go to the bar in space, actually. Stay a little bit sober-minded and go back to sleep. I think it's great to actually have a little bit of time to just sit and see if you can sink into something for a while. Because I'm just a child, and I'll say it, I said it again since the last time I said it, you see. And I've been sitting at the sea, sitting at the side of the ocean, trying to find out if I'm the one floating, or if I go across the waves, if I'm going to get into a place I don't want to be, trying to cross to a different type of thing. I think it's crazy, actually. We don't like the places that we're in, so we go to somewhere else that's different to find out that we begin to be the outcast in a different town. And now, we don't like it, because we might get a lot of publicity and a lot of people thinking that we are cool because we're different, but you were different in your own town, and you're home now. realizing that's the place that you'd like to be, not the physical location on the earth, but the place inside of your being. The same you who was you back at the place that you left before you crossed the street. You jumped across the pond and found out you were wrong, man. You wanted to go somewhere else to feel like you fit in. But it just reinforced the fact that you don't. So you can go on home now and find out that you won't drown because you're in familiar territory. Shortly, life will be a lot clearer, the more smoke in the air. And I'm not trying to prophesy, but I'm trying to point us to people who have prophesied back in time before you or I was on this earth. And they searched and searched and found the truth, wrote it in some books, really on plates, for me and you. Reading some things. Reading, it seems to be a hard thing to do sometimes. But if we can put aside the life that we think that we like to live and live inside the life we actually have been given, we'll understand that we don't have to do anything but give in, to surrender, and not back down. Bowing to the things of this world gets you swirled like a swirly, curly-headed people. You know why? Maybe you won't find out in this life. There's just a lot of things we don't know. And there's a lot of things that I know. And a lot of those things that I don't want to. But it comes with the territory. Surely it's scary. You take a tour around the bus station to try to find out if the tour bus that you're taking is taking you to the right place and see if you can jump on a different one instead. You're looking at things through the lens of your head rather than the lens of your heart. You start to find out that art is the things that you can't do yourself. And so you find it valuable because in somebody else they did something. And it's hard for you to comprehend how they did it. And they're looking at it like they don't get it. Why do people like this? I threw like 14 of these things in the trash back in my studio, thinking, who do I know that would even care about this? But then there's a lot of people who would go around everything in life to not miss getting a glimpse of this type of thing you've been given, that you put out there for somebody else. It sits on a shelf in your room for like a week and a half, and you're getting weaker, in fact, thinking you're never going to come up with something helpful for someone, valuable to give. But a lot of people would die just to get the things that they would call a gift that you threw up and throw in the trash can. When I say threw up, I meant to say ripped up. But I think this is the whole thing about it, is a lot of times we feel like we're just throwing up a lot of random things on the wall, splattering it, making a mess rather than a painting. But a lot of people come by and think that the only thing that they'd rather do is be fainting or die than not see this throughout their life. We've been given a lot of gifts, and a lot of times people don't think that it's all that important of a thing to do, to sit there and say some things that they gotta say, because who is really gonna listen to it? Well, it might take some time. And you gotta realize that we can try, but we're never gonna race the clock and win. But what we can race to doing is stop and then take a little bit of a look around. You might miss it pretty quick if you just keep going. You think you're flowing, but really you don't know it. You're rowing your boat as quick as you can, trying to get back to the ground again, where you were pulled from. And stop it. If I can give an invitation, please, I'd like to say to these people that seem to be a little bit lost inside the life they live, to try to find a place that's bigger than them. Because if you're the one that's trying to get to the end of things, then you'll be pretending, please. That's a race you can win pretty darn quick. And that's a win you won't be very happy with. Enduring to the end, though, that's how we really get back home. You know, I think there's a lot that we don't want to endure in this life, because life can be hard. And it can be. Actually, it's prophesied that it's supposed to be. And we go between the things, trying to read between the lines, trying to find the way between the trees, when all of this is just a forest that we don't like. Except for the hidden things inside. And what it takes to find those things is time. Dedication, to find some patience. In a life full of a lot of sick people, it's not so hard to do that. Find some patience. How else are you going to help anything? You can't heal anyone if no one's sick. Man. Hospitality, actually. It's not the healthy, but it's the sick. They need a physician. They need a healer. A person who's been in the position, who knows it, front to back and back to front, and can help them out when they want to run. A lot of times it's digging a little bit deeper to find the answers that were always inside. Because that's usually what happens when we tunnel in to the place we need to go to. Rather than tunneling into our own room, we look deeply into things that we have been avoiding for a long time. And we find, as long as we keep digging in the right direction, we'll come back up and find the light. It's an escape route. It's like I'm in a cape now. A superhero. Yeah? I don't think so. The thing about the heroes is they're the ones that feel the most inferior to the people around them and their own superiors, that they're the ones saving. It's kind of crazy. The people who've got it all together are the ones who are all together mad in their own mind, crazy, trying to find why everybody else seems to be looking at them the way that they do, when they're the ones that are sitting in their own rooms thinking the same thoughts as you. A lot of superheroes, though. And we all tend to take the road to try to find out if we can go down the same path that they did. And the truth is, we're all just kids going down the same path again. But what do you do with it? Who's going to take which kind of road? Because the higher road's the harder one to take anyway. A lot of times the higher roads, the roads that'll take you away. It'll be the last time you get to drive. Talk about eternal life. The bigger the decision, the harder it is to make. And the more time that it usually takes to actually find the right answer to it. Rather than just moving to something else so quickly, thinking that the more things you do swiftly, the more you'll accomplish. Really, you'll need an accomplice. You'll need some help to try to get yourself out of the jail that you got yourself into, sailing so quick into something that you didn't know that you could win, dude. And you win, too. But now what do you do with the winnings, the earnings you got? You're learning, you stop and look around when you're clear-headed. But you went clear-heading in the wrong direction, trying to find some place that you could find a lesson. And the lesson was, don't do it in the first place. And that's kind of the crazy thing about it, right? A lot of commandments, a lot of things you don't want to do because there are things that are telling you what not to do. But the reason we're told not to do things is for the benefit that comes on the other end of it. The superheroes are the ones that really take the back seat and do some things badly, but be open about it. Open up and pout just to show people that it happens to everyone. The best of us, as they say, and the rest of us just decay. We all decay. Clowning around, though. Thinking that we can get around the things that we've been trying to get around. Well, please. Life's just what it is. It's a big place of some of this and some of that. And we get back to the understanding of the back room. The people behind the scenes who are doing all the things when the person on the stage just seems to be the person that takes all the credit. But none of that could be happening if it wasn't the people behind the scenes that were letting everything fall into place just right, pulling the right strings and chords. And sure, you don't really see it all that often, but if it's stopping, it's not happening at all for the person under the lights. They call it the limelight, right? I don't like that type. I like clear, white lights, some things that I can try to run from that will always find me when I'm trying to find the demise for myself. Denying that I'm the one that needs help. Call it a superhero. I call it a person with some no names for these kind of things. The life that we all try to lead is the life that we don't want to be having. The lives that we try to run from are the ones where life really gets fun. Where you sink and soak down into that emotion that you've been going all around to try to escape. And you find out that that's actually the way out. Is facing it, hitting it head on, colliding with the life that we all just have been trying to leave. But you gotta run right into it. You gotta own up to the things you done wrong. And not try to sing this song about a better tomorrow where you're crying in your sorrows as you're looking at the clock and it's still today. Claiming that one day we'll get there. To the day that never comes. On this endless loop of a hamster wheel. Squealing. And it's not the wheel that's doing it, but it's you with your movement just getting so tired and complaining about it. And you wouldn't need to be shouting if you just stopped running. But it's funny, right? That's where the comedy shows come from. The people who are all undone. They can't feel a single bit of emotion without going into a whole kind of flowing wreck. Like it just keeps happening. They'll never be able to stop it. So they don't open up at all. They hit a wall every turn they make. Boxed into something that they call avoidance. But they don't want to call it at all, so they toy with their own emotions. Put them on a screen for other people to see. Put them on a stage and they're in a cage even though they seem like they're all opened up and at home. We tend to claim that we're at home in the places we don't like to be the most. Because those are the places that we can feel like we're the ghost. The one that's not really there but can be there without having to admit that they're scared because we can deflect it. You learn a bigger lesson the more you stop trying to learn things. What if things just came as they did? And we didn't need to try for it. The high scores just got deleted once the game turned off. We'd all live a better life at that point. What if we tried to lose? Stop doing the things we always tried to do. And just see what happens instead. But instead we get back in our head, thinking through all the options. Thinking through, hey, the person who won last year, how am I going to stop him? Trying to win? Really, you're just trying to kid yourself that trophy actually lasts once you sit on that shelf. Because one day you'll just be on to something bigger and better. Although bigger's not always better. Unless it's a letter. The one that comes first in a word of 3. Because the word's what we need. It tells us about some things. The Trinity. Capitalize it. Then all the lies just get moved aside with the order of operations. Because we didn't decide how to operate this life. We've just been given it. And God knows all. So we go down the hall trying to find a different kind of place to escape to. Looking for a door with the word exit or a safe room. Rather than just being in the place that we're placed in, we're always trying to find a place to escape. Then, once we do, we want to come back. The overthinking happens after the fact. Go in guns blazing and lead-footed. No thought to begin with. And then you begin to just think about it afterwards, like, man, why'd I have to turn into this? The thing that you're trying to be, to try to please the person that you think you like for this week. Instead of just being the person that you were, who's, yeah, admittedly sometimes weak and meek, scared, soft, in a rock-hard, cold world. You're getting tossed around again, huh? Being yourself, where you keep hitting is the ground and then not the high score list. You get dropped like a rock. It's like that game at the carnival, though. The harder you hit it down, the higher the little thing comes up and hits the bell at the top. Sometimes we just need to get yelled at to stop. It's a game of up and down. It's a game of you mustn't drown, but it's okay to struggle a little bit in the waves. And that'll just teach you how to be a better swimmer. So next time you encounter a different kind of obstacle, you'll remember the time that you never thought you could pull through. And somehow you did. And you sit there realizing it was not just your own strength. You couldn't rely on yourself because you'd be lying to yourself. But somehow you made it through. And you realize you had help. carried across the waves. We all just rot and decay. Life will end. But we can pretend. Definitely. But I'd rather just see what'll happen if I let go. It's not all that sturdy of a rope anyway. Holding on to things that just break and leave. Trusting in temporary. Saying the same things as everybody else. Isn't it nuts, though? We ask people how to get through life when people don't know how to get through life, and we think we might just get a little wisdom from them because they're not us. That's kind of the whole point of it, is people just toy with this idea of looking outside themselves for things. And what they don't like is to sell their dreams. And that little bit of cash they might get might just be what they needed to get them that tiny little step on their way back to freedom. But instead, they're holding on to something that's drowning them deeper and deeper in debt, bringing them closer and closer to death the longer they try to live. The way you really win is by losing your life, and that's when you gain it. It's insane. Just stop talking. People try to say to me when I'm saying things that'll help them be the better person that they've always been searching to try to find inside their own being by looking outside at all the things that come and go. The wintertime's a bigger crime, huh? Why? It's just one of the seasons. Just one of the places that keeps coming and going, staying and leaving. Seeming we know what we're doing is what we're doing in the summertime, and then we just try to find out how to survive when the cold wind blows in. And we don't know where to begin going from party to party when the sun's out. And when the sun goes down, we don't want to go out of the house. You know, I said it before, I'm a heavy hitter. Really just means I get hit with heavy things and I sit there with it instead of trying to dismiss it. That's a good thing. Because should we just keep trying to run away from everything that comes, then we'll just always be on the run. With never a second to breathe. Which is the first thing that we need. As a human being, that's where it starts, and Adam knows that all too well. But he did some things that put him in jail, opposing the person who gave him everything and let him see that it would never leave if he just would be obedient. He wasn't obedient. And he had some help to get him derailed. So don't listen to this guy, that person, or the one in the kitchen with Dinah who's trying to take you to a different type of place than where you're currently at. Telling you you're certainly sad, living the kind of life you're living, not trying to find the highest heights and get them. What they do is they get you caught into their trap. Spell some things out for you. How good life could be. With no proofread. From you before you do the thing. And you realize it's all misspelled. A little bit tattered up and tangled. Twisted and contorted. And it sure just seemed nice and clear at the beginning until you stopped winning. And looked for the reasons as to why, and you didn't look at the fact that, well, it's just life. That's actually what it's for. To lose and to do some things that are not something we might want. To get us to a place that we will love. It's not a place, it's a people. It's like the steeple. It's more of like a beacon. Some things that we can see when we feel like we can't see. Even just a few feet in front of us. For the storms of life and the waves that get so high, the steeple piers just above where you can look up and see with your eyes that there's always something that will and does rise. Daily bread and the gift of life, the third day our Savior Jesus Christ. Call it Metronome Madness. Episode 22. So, how about I do me, and I'll let you do you. And let's understand that we're just who we are. Turning cars at the same time in a different direction. Turning left, and we can do it together. But we're facing opposite directions. So then we continue to go in opposite directions. Passing like a ship in the night. We've been shipping things, right? It's kind of what it's became. It's kind of what it's become. That's why people are so on the run. They've got a delivery date to meet. Rather than finding some things in their own town, they go now onto a place that's not even real to get some things to come all the way across the seas to them. And they pretend that's really what they need and that they'll be fulfilled and achieved when they get those things and they open up the package, and actually they just get trapped when they realize there's another new product. And always. And never will it cease to be these type of things, these merry-go-rounds. People get married and go around and do it again. Disposable people. So it seems. That's what I mean. You're not sowing seeds, you're just throwing things away. And I said throwing up, right? And all growing up, I felt like I was sick of things I didn't want to be able to have. I was always told that I got to instead of I have to, and then I got to realize at a certain time in my life what was really going on. The impact that words can have and the phrasings and the ways that we phrase the things that we say, and how it can lead to a whole different meaning of things, even if it means the same thing. It's in the inflection and the lessons that we can learn by turning ourselves a little bit sharper, an acute kind of attention. That's when we can learn the lesson. That a lot of times we're just expecting things to be what they are when things are just what they are. And it's in the way we phrase it. So life is a lot to take, kid. It's not going to get any easier either. You'll get a little bit stronger along the way. But you always have to deal with the same things. And it's crazy for us to think that life will actually change when a new generation comes through. New people try to do something different. They'll just never. Because they missed it. The point. Jesus Christ. And I'd like to welcome you all to Metronome Madness, episode 22. In the Image Clothing Company music, dude. My name's Evan Strong. It's August 2025. And I'd be lying if I said I knew the exact date for sure, so. There you go. I used to say it like this, that long form content. We long for them. Because what's on next? I don't really care. I want to be locked into something. Have all my attention on it and actually want to listen to it. And if you don't care, you don't have to care. But we would... Just stick around.